States Navy SEAL. So thank you for coming, Glenn.
All right. Thank you to begin with for inviting me here. I seem to be left behind on all these invitations, and I'm not out there as much as some of the guys. So that being said, my name is Glenn Heeidenreich. I am a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a former school board president. I'm also a former Navy SEAL. I am a common man, but I have an uncommon desire to see people around me, the community, safe. I believe that every citizen in this community has the right to be safe in their home and outside of their home. I don't want anyone to be afraid to go outside of their home. And if we have people in the community that are afraid to go outside of their home, we have a big problem. And we do have a big problem in Winnebago County. One of the things, as far as when I'm sheriff, I plan on keeping open communications with other law enforcement agencies. If we don't have open communications, and if we're not transparent, this ain't gonna work. I don't care who it is. We have to communicate with other agencies, and we have to bring this crime down in this county. I'm sure everyone here is aware that in 2013, we are again the number 3 in the nation as one of the most violent cities. If you weren't aware of it, you can go and Google it. Check it out. Okay? Another thing, as sheriff, I think we need to concentrate on our youth. That was brought up a little earlier, and I'm glad to see that some of these candidates are thinking on the same line that I am. We already have a knock and talk program with the Sheriff's Department. And what that is we go to the doors, we knock on the doors, we say, hey, how you doing? Some want us there, some don't. Some give us good feedback for the community. Some don't talk to us at all, they don't even answer the door. But I want to take it a step further. We do have a huge drug problem in this community. And that parallels with the respect for authority. I think the youth need to be educated, because you know what? The youth are the ones that are going to be running us in the next generation. And if we can't reach our hand out to help them now, we can't help ourselves. So what we have to do is we have to reach out to the youth, and we have to let them know there has to be authority. We're not here to be a thorn in your side. We're here to make your community better. We're here to help you out. If you have a drug problem, we got to come up with some kind of programs other than what we have. As far as diversity, I heard it mentioned that Sheriff's Department is not very diverse. That is 100% correct. We're not a diverse department. That needs to change, and we need to quit being so one-sided on so many things. Another thing, as sheriff, we need to take care of this 1-cent sales tax. You, the people, voted that in. I wasn't the sheriff when it came in, but I'll be the sheriff when we take care of it. What we need to do, I don't know where it all goes. Do you know where it all goes? I do know for a fact that some fundings have been changed. Some fundings have been stopped. That is not acceptable. When you voted that in, you were told where that was going to go. But some of the funding's been stopped. Me being sheriff, I don't run that money. You run that money. I need to form a citizens board, a transparent board. Everything needs to be transparent to where if you come and say to your neighbor, hey, have you heard about that 1-cent sales tax? Where's it going? Is the Reach Out Ministry still getting their money? I can tell you they're not. Well, that might be part of our problems. We got people in the jail. Are they getting the help that they need? Are they getting the help that you promised they were going to get? Probably not. So, that being said, as sheriff, we also need to take care of our own people. And when I mean our own people, I don't want you to take this as me being pig-headed or anything like this. Follow me through on this. We have corrections officers, we have deputies. We have a work environment right now that is very angry. We do not have camaraderie across the board. That filters from the top and it goes down. When that correction officer comes into work and they're not sure they're going to get spanked today because of something that they didn't like, they thought they followed the rules, there's no consistency. So what does that do? We have someone that don't know what's going to happen to them when they come into work. It creates a bad environment. I want to be a transparent sheriff. I want everyone to know that they can come to me. If they can't come to me, they will come, hopefully, to the chaplain that I'll put in place that we don't have.
Thank you. Now, before we start, we do have mics. Let's do it. This is a democracy. Okay. If you want us to turn, it's a republic or well, okay. If you want the mics, raise your hand. If you don't want the mics, raise your hand. No mics. All right. Go ahead.
What qualifies you to be the next sheriff of Winnebago County?
What qualifies me to be the next sheriff? Wow, I could probably talk about this for about 2 seconds. Actually, as a little boy, I grew up in rural Winnebago County. I remember watching the squad cars go by, and I said to my dad, I said, someday I'm going to be a Winnebago County sheriff. I didn't know that I meant the top dog. I just meant I know I wanted to drive one of them cool cars. Well, life made its changes. That didn't happen. I graduated high school. I was actually going in to be a Marine. And I'm at the recruiter station, and the Marine didn't come out. So the Navy guy comes out, he goes, what are you doing here? I said, well, I'm going to join the Marine. He said, what about the Navy? He said, would you like a girlfriend in every port? No, I'm 17. What do you think of me? So I joined the Navy. Well, my career takes me through, and I ended up being a Navy SEAL. I got out of the Navy. I came to work for Winnebago County, the place I always knew as a child I wanted to work for. I started as a corrections officer, and from there, I tested for patrol. I went to patrol. I was a patrol deputy. I went from patrol deputy to detective. I worked everything from kidnappings to homicides, and from there, I got promoted to sergeant. I'm currently a sergeant with the department, and in my abilities, our supervision abilities as sergeant, I have ran the 911 center, I've ran patrol, I've ran river patrols, sergeant of the SWAT team, in charge of civil process, community policing, domestic violence, and I'm sure there's a couple that I'm missing, also director of security. One thing through my years that I have learned are things that work and things that don't work with the department. And there's some goods and bads on either one, but I know in my mind what has to happen to make this a transparent department for the citizens of Winnebago County. This is not my department. This is your department. You vote me in, and I give you what you voted for.
Thank you. How will you enforce the law in the jails and on the streets, improve public safety and security without getting an additional penny from the Winnebago County Board?
I can do that. I can really do that. Well, as far as the jail, the laws in the jail, you know, once these unfortunate people end up in jail, we don't really have a big problem with any laws being violated within the jail. I mean, as with any facility, you're going to have people that complain about this and complain about that, and that can be taken care of. and that's pretty much fixed on its own. I'm not saying overlook it, but that's not the big problem right at the moment. The big problem is the crime on the street. Like I said, we are number 3 in the nation in 2013 for criminal activity. And I'm sure you heard Chet Epperson tell you that crime is down and murder's up. That's weird. I don't know about you, but that's bad. So, I'll just give you a small synopsis of something that I have done and I can prove works, and I know that it will take crime down, and it's something I can implement right now as we sit here, and it won't cost you a dime as a citizen from Winnebago County, and I won't have to go to the board and ask them for a dime. Back around 2009, 2010, I was in charge of what they call a special focus unit. I had 7 men, and one of the things I have learned throughout my life, being a Navy SEAL, I learned good tactics, I learned good leadership. Being a sergeant, I also carry that over, and I carry it over to my troops. And if you ever speak to any troops that I have supervised, you will see that it's a unique type of person that's supervising them. Anyways, what we did was we went into the old weed and seed area. It's no longer called the weed and seed area of the west side of Rockford. And we tactically took down criminals. There was not a night when we were on the streets that we did not get guns, drugs, cash, and I'm not talking about $5 bills, I'm talking about $15,000 in cash in these Mopes cars. Why they got the cash? Because we got the drugs, okay? Anyways, we're taking these violent offenders off the street, and we kept hitting them, and we kept hitting them. Pretty soon, we go out, and we have no activity. It's far and few in between. So we sat down, and we all butted our heads together and said, wow, what's going on here? Let's move to the east side. We moved to the east side of Rockford. Lo and behold, not as prevalent as it was in the weed and seed area, but I'm going to tell you what, this is a telling story right here. And it's a kudos. We get this guy, we're taking him into jail, and he says to us, unsolicited, he says, wow. He goes, we moved from the west side because you were there. What's that tell you right there? We are making an impact on these people that are ruining our community. We continued it on the east side, and within 6 months of the inception of this special unit, we were dismanned. They said it was because of budget cuts. I don't know. I can just tell you that prior to us officially being dismanned, I was approached by the brass, and I was told, you will take 1 man off your team and tell him by June 1st he's no longer on the team. So I knew then, before we were dismanned, that I was getting chopped down. I didn't know why. I know Rockford was getting the stats. I don't care. Rockford's in Winnebago County. I'm not a man that needs accolades for things that I do. We were bringing crime down. They're taking credit for our stats. My own personal opinion is they didn't like that. They dismanned us. I can do it again with a vengeance, and I have the people in place now. We have the same unit, but they don't have a leader that knows how to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so who wants to pick the next question? Jose. Thank you, sir. Number 5, Luther.
Number 5. Have you had a family member or a close personal friend in Winnebago County who was the violent of a violent or a property crime?
Victim.
Yeah, victim.
Yes, understand. Have I had a close family member, a victim of a property crime? As a matter of fact, I have. My mom and dad, they live in rural Winnebago County, up on Yale Bridge Road, and they have had into. And of course, being the man that I am, it infuriates me, especially knowing that it's your family members. So my thought is, if this is happening to my family members, who is this not happening to? How many people does not report this kind of stuff? Because they're just afraid. We got people that are simply afraid to call 911, just because they don't want to be embarrassed and talk to 911 operators. But yes, I have had family members directly involved.
No, thank you. Now we're going to go on to my questions, right. Okay. Do you support Illinois' concealed carry law?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I'd like to also add, I support it so much that I am a concealed carry instructor. I won't take anything from the gentleman in the back, but just had to do it just in case I need to teach my family.
Do you support all keepers?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Would you implement the Rockford Police Department's no high-speed chase policy?
Absolutely not.
Would you re-implement the secure community program?
Yes.
Do you think the sheriff should be term limited to a maximum of 8 years?
Man, shoot myself in the foot here, but honestly, I do think that.
Thank you. So, 2 questions. Anybody? Okay. Yes. Good to see you. First question.
If you got in, I got one question. This is supposed to be with all politicians.
I'm not a politician.
But we're gonna find out.
All right, let's do it.
On this deal where, at the end of your, say, employment time,
Yep.
everybody seems to get, an increase in salary and all this stuff, and that helps to increase their pensions. I worry about the pensions and all this nice stuff camaraderie is causing.
I'm
That's a
not,
lot of money.
I'm not sure I'm following you on that. However, let me say this. As a sheriff's department employee, I pay into my pension. I pay versus a regular IMF employee who pays 25%, I pay 75%. So I'm entitled to my pension that I have put into for going on 21 years. Now, obviously, I don't make the big money that the sheriff makes, and I don't know exactly what your question, what you're looking for on that question. But yes, I will take the pay increase. that goes
Let
with-
me just extrapolate it out for you real quick. I think I understand where you was going with that. A lot of employees in the sheriff's department are double dipping. Okay? So they're getting a pension from one area in government, and you're getting another pension, or heading toward another pension in the sheriff's department. What's your perspective of this double dipping issue? Because this is one of the biggest issues that is crushing us as taxpayers.
Okay.
Paying for
I
employees.
understand what you're asking now. Let me give you one example, and I'll tell you how I feel on it. I was, up until 2 weeks ago, I was the director of security for Winnebago County. As everyone remembers, Jim Puckett, he retired. I like Jim Puckett. I don't know if I stepped on toes, or if he's a really good friend of someone. They brought him in to take my position on top of my position he's making, on top of his retirement, he is now making $96,000 a year with full benefits, when I was doing the job just fine. So, I don't agree with some of the things that go on there, if that's answering your question.
Okay. Next,
And I am directly reflecting.
next question, Don Hall. Don, that's okay. Yep. Don?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
if elected, you're going to be the organizational chief. This organization has a culture. What I would like to know is what would you, if you've been in, and I assume you have, you've indicated that you've articulated, you've been in the culture for almost 20, 30 years now. As a number of the candidates have articulated, they are currently or have been either corrections or patrol deputies.
Okay.
So you know the culture in your organization you wish to be the leader of. So what I would like to know is how do you assess that culture right now, especially the differences between the patrol officers and the correction officers? Whether it's an organization that looks for careerism or wishes to engage
Unfortunately, I need you to do that assessment within about 1.5 minutes because you're past your
Holy
time.
moly.
I
So let me
apologize.
take the last first.
Yeah.
What I will do with the department is make it transparent. It is not transparent right now. And the only way you're going to get anything done effectively is if you're transparent. So, I think you're asking me, what is the relationship between the sheriff and the people that work for him?
All the above, I'm talking about organizational culture, you
There-
pick the
there-
point
there-
you want to talk about.
There is a huge disconnect from the hierarchy in the sheriff's department. That has to be changed. You know what? I know where I came from. I remember where I came from. My word is my bond. I will never treat anyone unfair. I told you in the beginning, you treat people the way you want to be treated. If you can't do that, you should not be in a position of authority. I hope I answered your question.
Well, actually, talk also about the sheriff and the chief of police relationship.
Well, I'm not the sheriff, so I don't know what his relationship is. But if I'm the sheriff, you know what? We're gonna be hugging. That's fine. He don't have to like me, but that city is still in Winnebago County, and the citizens still need the help, and they will get it.
Thank you. Glenn, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.